My name is Toufi Saliba. I'm the author of TODA.IP and the Global Chair for the International Protocols for AI Securities with the IEEE. And this is not the security, the stock security, this is more cybersecurity from that perspective. You guys can find me on LinkedIn or Twitter. If anybody has any questions, please reach out. I'm going to start here about some of the NFT and digital currency protocols and design considerations. And here by design, we talk a little bit more about architectural design, design that makes the actual system and not necessarily from the design from appealing design. So that's not my expertise, you know. I'm more on the technical protocols and design. So what is NFT? Well, NFT in the current world, non-fungible token, there's things that you've seen like, you know, file deeds, certificate of ownership, things that when you're holding it, it has some value, but you can't trade it with someone else. You can't say it's like, you know, like this certificate of ownership of this house is the same of like another certificate of ownership of another house. So each and every one of them is unique, and it's unique globally, not just in a certain area or certain territory. You know, it has to be unique globally. So this is something that is exciting about what the technology that is bringing the NFT today, and what we are yet to envision from, you know, protocol perspective and design considerations. So another thing that is NFT that not a lot of people tell you, the dollar bill or the won, like, you know, in South Korea or anywhere in the world, you see that number. Each and every bill has that unique number in it. It's actually an NFT. They say, oh, you know, it's fungible currency, whatnot. It's fungible by law, not by construct. Okay, the construct of it is unique. It has those unique numbers, each and every one of them. Another thing that not a lot of people would tell you, even some super duper technical folks, that they're gonna hear it for the first time today. Bitcoin by construct, the smallest unit is Satoshi in Bitcoin. Every one Bitcoin is 100 million Satoshis, okay? Each and every Satoshi is an NFT by construct, okay? Beautiful, you know. You have that unique thing in its entire life trajectory. Now, many people would say, well, the Bitcoin transaction is fungible. True, when you have like millions of them, you know, one might have a little bit of value more than the other one in the eyes of certain folks. So the entire transaction is, you know, fungible, but if the smallest unit, Satoshi, it is an NFT. So NFT must be globally unique. This is something that is extremely interesting, that in the current ledger-based blockchain, the way NFT is represented, for folks that they're not necessarily very technical, imagine a ledger is like an Excel spreadsheet. You've all seen a spreadsheet. Each and every NFT is its actual record. Okay, so that's different than having a certain balance that says your name or your, you know, public key and then your balance next to it. So the NFT is actual record for each and every one. Now, I'm telling you this, important. When folks, they tell you that the current ledger-based blockchain can give you a unique representation of your Mona Lisa that you're hiding under your bed. Mona Lisa exists, so there's only one Mona Lisa in the world. Some ledger-based blockchains, they claim, well, it's not forkable, it's better than Ethereum. Some others, they say it's cheaper than Ethereum, and so on and so forth. Let me tell you this, a fact, not an opinion. Every single ledger-based blockchain whether it is forkable or not. It's clonable, okay? So, hey, you have that unique thing that it's like a ledger, that it's in that ledger, it is unique, it's clonable, then you can spend some advertising money and call it Ethereum 2.0 or Ethereum 3.0 or whatnot, and you can have many different copies of it. So that is a huge problem. Every single time I point out a problem through my entire life, a lot of people, they would think, okay, you know, this guy is a hater. I'm actually a lover. I do not criticize things that I do not love. This thing is coming, and it will be prevalent, as you all heard. NFT will be available to everybody on the planet. But how? And we will get to the how. Is there something in this world that it's globally unique, that we've all agreed to its uniqueness, that it's finite, that it's, you know, people in Japan, they agree that it is unique, and in China and in Russia and in the United States and everywhere. Is there a number system that exists that is unique in this world? We know the metric system is not. We know there's so many different currencies, religions, and so on and so forth. Ledgers, IP system, and IPv4 and v6, phone numbers, you name it. There's so many different things that they are not necessarily unique globally. Some people might think it is unique, but it can change and so on and so forth. However, full disclosure, I am involved in a project called Earth-64. I am an author of TODA IP, but I get involved in like a lot of the projects. And that project uses the Earth's coordinates, and we call it Earth-based NFT. They are unique globally. And if you go down to the tiny square centimeters, we have one of the companies, they do that on land, but this is different. This is like for the NFT usage, which I'm not here to advertise about things. I'm talking about certain technological elements that matter to all of us on the planet. Here's another thing. Time is unique to all of us. If you were to say May 28, 2018, it's irrefutable that it happened already in the past. Okay, so it's nobody's going to debate that. Nobody's going to tell you it's like, oh, I disagree with your opinion, or I have a different opinion, whatnot. No. That's factual. Everybody agreed to that time. All right. So there are only very few things that all of us on the planet agree to, and that's what we must use for the ultimate NFT system. So if you want to put your Mona Lisa, put it somewhere that everybody agree that thing is unique. And you might have some additional benefits, which I can address too as well. So what can you use NFT for? Here's the cool thing. For everyone in the audience, you're going to love that. Okay. So NFT via cryptocurrency, I'm here to tell each and every one of you, it is the core construct of cryptocurrency. I said it is in Bitcoin. Every single currency in the world, like I said, has its unique numbers. When certain government somewhere in the world, they're going to have their CBDC, or they're going to have like their whatever currency, they're still struggling today with how to prove to the rest of the world that it's going to be finite, they're not going to print unlimited amount, what kind of governance they have to prove to the rest of the world, not internally. Like internally, you can prove all you want, get the votes and whatnot. But if you want to prove something that it's to the rest of the world, it might go down back to the basis, Earth-based NFTs. There are certain numbers that perhaps folks can utilize. So DAO, Decentralized Autonomous Organization, for those that they don't know what DAO is this extremely powerful contract, if you wish, or whatnot, that you run it in a certain way, that it's or code that it's unstoppable, and it can do certain things that everybody can look at that code. Everybody's involved in that DAO. You can do it in a certain confidential way, because again, not everything is ledger-based blockchain. If anybody tells you that, it's they don't necessarily understand what blockchain is. Blockchain, blocks of time that they've chained together. They could be on a ledger that is publicly available for everyone. But if you're involved in a certain DAO, it could be extremely confidential. But however, you can view what's written, and you know that it's going to do exactly that every single time. So for example, if you were to have an NFT that gets minted by a certain DAO organization, or it says every day I'm going to release one NFT, not more than one, just one. That NFT gives certain representation of, let's say, software licensing. The day after, if this one is sold, then that DAO creates another one. If it's not sold, then it doesn't create another one. The next one is for something a little bit different than the previous one, because each and every NFT is unique. So this is beautiful from the perspective of making life easier for regulators across the globe, because it is self-regulated. People can look at it and be like, okay, this is not some sort of organization that we have to look at their governance. What are they doing? Are they going to change their mind tomorrow? Whatnot? No, every day it's going to do the exact same thing. Which leads me to tell you something that is exciting. NFT can be used for product repurchase. In a previous call and a lot of calls before, a lot of people, they know about, let's say, video games, that you can purchase a video game for, let's say, $80, but if it's pre-purchase, you can buy it for $11, $13, whatnot, before the time comes for the actual release. The beauty about NFT is that if you buy that, it is liquid, meaning that you bought it, let's say, July 1st, and then July 4th, you decided to sell it to your neighbor, whatnot. You bought it for $11, you can sell it for $13, whatnot. The NFT gives you that unique holder of it, and you can put it inside it, okay? You put that software license inside it. And what does that mean? That means it's like it makes all of those things liquid in a way that makes it extremely attractive for an industry that existed for a long time. Any software company, they've done the pre-purchase model before. So we're not here talking about like securities, whatnot, selling product. You can use the NFT rails to sell those products. So then your users, they can get onboarded faster. They can use something that is liquid. They can feel the assurance that they're not being scammed by some company saying it's like, pay me $11 for that game that is being released in 6 months or 9 months. It becomes immutable and it becomes progressive in that way, which is the DAO that would be in control of it. What else? A few things that I need to mention here. Wealth extraction. You gotta be careful when it comes to protocols and design consideration. And you look at a lot of protocols. There's some protocols, people, they talk about. So there's two different kinds of protocol in this industry, if you're new to it. There's a protocol, the internet protocol. That's my expertise, okay? Like technology protocol, P2P protocol, and so on and so forth. And now there's some other thing that it's they call it protocol. It's like how you're going to behave as a community or whatnot, okay? That's not what I talk about. Anyway. In the former, the actual network communication protocol or whatnot, when there are certain systems that they tell you it is peer-to-peer, and anybody who's new here, that they've heard it many times, they keep saying it's like peer-to-peer, but they hear about miners. Oh, then they hear about exchange, and then they hear about this, and they feel like they're being lied to. It's true, you're being lied to. They tell you it's peer-to-peer. It is not peer-to-peer. There isn't any single blockchain out there today that is peer-to-peer, okay? The only one that was Bitcoin until 2011, and there was like an exploitation in that and separated the whole miners from the community, and then the current state of this entire technology, there's the actual users, and there's the other ones that they are miners that you depend on them. When you depend on them, it is not peer-to-peer. So some people, they say, it's a decentralized exchange, DEX. That's not peer-to-peer. You still have to depend on that decentralized exchange, okay? So, but again, here I'm criticizing because I know where we're going. We're going towards a full peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer, it has a lot of advantages. So first, it has to be more secure, more efficient, and therefore it can add a lot of value. It can be confidential by design. It can scale a lot better. You don't have to have that dependency. That does not mean you can't have service layers. Service layers will always exist. Service layers, they're businesses. If somebody wants to tell, let's say Dan decides to have a service to tell Cynthia and Jonathan about each other because Cynthia wants to sell 1,000 Bitcoin and Jonathan wants to sell, 5,000 Ethereums and whatnot, and then ETH, and then tell them about each other, but the transaction can happen peer-to-peer. Phenomenal. Okay, so that's the future where we're going. A few things here that they're for people that they've been in the industry for quite some time. They refer to when you put things on the blockchain as if you're putting it on a ledger. It is not necessarily true. The ledger is one thing, the blockchain is another. Okay, the blockchain could use a ledger. It does not necessarily have to use a ledger. The same way, if my mom drives a car, doesn't mean that my mom is a car. Okay, she can drive the car, she can use the car. Okay, so blockchain, you have an event A, event B, they happen at the same time. There's something that's called temporal coupling, which is a hash of a hash. Cryptographic hash is a beautiful thing that existed for over 40 years in technology. It's able to give you any set of data, could be picture, could be video. It gives you, let's say, about 32 characters or 64 characters or whatever. The point is, in those 32 characters, you can fit 2 to the power 256 possibilities. So that's about trillion times the universe representation is in atoms. Why am I telling you this? Because if you were to take any set of data and represent it with one atom in this universe, what's the likelihood that someone else is going to take another set of data and get that exact same atom? Very, very low. It's almost impossible. Now, even if they do get that, if you have that the atom, you cannot necessarily go back and you can't actually. It's impossible, not necessarily. You cannot go back and get the data that generated that atom. Okay, beautiful. So that gives you the ability to have a lot of things that can be confidential if it's not ledger based. So when we talk about transparency, a lot of folks would think like, holy, if it's a ledger chain, everything's transparent there, people can see it or whatnot. True, but it doesn't have to be ledger-based blockchain. You can have blockchain that it's not ledger-based, that is network-based. You have the proof, the transparency from your perspective. It is confidential to you. You want to show it to your auditor, to your tax dude or whatnot. You have the cryptographic proof for something that actually did happen, and it's irrefutable, it's immutable, and everyone in the world will know about it when you want them to know. Okay, that's the beauty of this. When you do it, then you can get also timestamp, because when it happens, there's something that's called temporal coupling. Now, this is extremely important to what I've just said earlier, guys. We talked about the timestamp. The time is the unique thing in the world. We talk about the Earth has certain thing that is unique that you all agree to. Now, let's imagine you can combine the two. Whoa, time, space, then you have something that is extremely unique. And again, this is, I'm heavily in technology and cryptography and whatnot, and involved in this Earth 64 thing that it's coming out at some point in the near future. But it's basically, that's what it does. It combines those two things and provides data structure for people, whether you want to build your own currency, you want to build your NFT, whatever it is. Why is it so important? Because if Cisco, they want to copy you, they will not be able to go back in time and get that timestamp. They will look in the eye of everybody that they're copying you, because you've already got timestamp of every single geo coordinates combined. Okay, so that's the beauty of this, that it's like at no cost. So so you need to look at the pillars that constitute the ultimate NFT management system. And like in the previous talk, Aiden was saying, like each and every one of us, we're doing a certain piece of the pillar. We put them all together, you get that thing. And this thing talks about the data structure. There are a lot of protocols, technology protocols, and there are some other protocols when it comes to DeFi and whatnot, or DeFi, some folks call it. Anyway, so now there's another pillar that is like the incentive in versus the efficiency. And that's important because if there is an incentive for a lot of folks, like in the old days of, well, still in the current days of miners, but perhaps in the future they can become service layer as opposed to dependency layer, they'll be able to make shitloads of money and at the same time be able to expand globally. All right. So this is extremely interesting here, what I'm going to show you, which also goes back to some of the points that they were mentioned in previous talks. Let's suppose an NFT management system has quadrillion NFTs. This here, great. This is a binary search tree that is fully saturated and complete. Let's say, well, it's not. And this is a representation of it, a small part of it. If you were to be on Ethereum and you were to do split of this NFT, which allows you to do it just 5 times, about 32 at the very bottom. And it seems very reasonable because you can spend about like maybe $500 or whatnot, and you're able to do this. Now, if you want to do it 51 times, some people say, come on, it's 5 times multiplied by 10. Well, financial works. With 51 times, you will get to about 2 quadrillion, 251 trillion, 799 billion, 813 million, 685,248. Okay? So if you were to do this on Ethereum today, it's impossible. But let's say you make it possible with that scalability or whatnot, and let's say some ledger-based blockchain come and replace it and does it 100 times cheaper. Just to do a single data structure like this, it would cost you all the money in the world. This number here, it's all the money in the world. Okay? However, again, I'm criticizing here because I know where the technology is going, and that can be done all on the network using the proper data structure. And you know, a typical data structure would look something like this, and then this is have the entire thing pushed all the way into a single thing that, let's say, we're calling it NFC, like non-fungible container. In that container, you can have all of those 2 quadrillion. For folks, if there's any questions, you can always hit me up on LinkedIn or whatnot. I'm very, very responsive. I know we only have four minutes here. I just want to make sure that, like, I emphasize the fact about this technology is not here to replace bankers and their families. They don't need to worry about their jobs. In fact, a lot of bankers have been already joining phenomenally this movement. I've been in this movement for decades. Those that know me, and they know that we're not here to disrupt the people. We're here to disrupt old systems that is like, it has a lot of friction. And with new systems that can raise the bar to everybody by reducing friction, us humanity, like any organism in this universe, you reduce the friction, you get more movement. And you get more movement, you get more prosperity to everybody. So I'm really hoping that folks can see it this way, welcoming each other into this movement. This is the time that I say that a few years ago, Craig invited me to the event, and I said, this is like 1989. And I still stick to what I've said, because it's like 1992 in comparison to the World Wide Web. Everybody would have a .com at some point, and everybody did have a .com. In this cryptoverse, everybody would have an NFT. Everybody would have their own currency. Believe it or not, every single company that you know, they're building their own currencies. So if they were to build it on their own ledger, it's like they're building intranet. No matter what anyone tells you, you still need to, interoperability layer, that's another layer on top of all of these layers. That's not how the future, this is phenomenal for now, for proof of concept. But what's yet to come, it's all on the network, or to be equivalent to the internet. So thank you very much. Any questions, please reach out. I won't be able, we don't have enough time to go through the Q&A here, but some folks are asking about the deck. I can provide it to Craig, and he can share it with folks, or hit me up on LinkedIn. You guys can see my LinkedIn. If you cannot, let me see if I can get it here. All right, this is my LinkedIn. I'll put it in the chat. Please copy it, hit me up, and would be delighted to talk to each and every one of you about this. Thanks once again. Be well.